All right, thank you all for being here. Really, really proud of our guys tonight. Just so grateful to our crowd. Again, electric atmosphere in the last game in Schoenecker Arena. Certainly an end of a chapter, an era. But I thought our guys competed so tough and together against an outstanding team. Kansas City has so much respect for Marvin, the job he does. They were picked first in the conference for a reason, all the guys they have back. And you saw that tonight. I mean, I think they're going to make noise in the conference playoffs, and it was a great basketball game. Aesthetically, it wasn't the prettiest game, but to me, one of the marks of this program, when you look at what we've done over the 4 years in Division I, I don't think we could have shot 9 for 37 on threes and beaten a good team previously, and so that's really a credit, I think, to our guys' toughness, rebounding, collective defensive effort, and just I think also a belief in one another that, it's not easy when you're getting, I thought we got really good shots. Carter Drake and Miles went 1 for 19 combined on threes. And so to be able to handle that and continue just competing, I thought it was an outstanding performance and just so proud of them. Seniors on senior day, it's always an emotional day, and those are not easy days as a coach because you know what those guys have meant to the program. You know, you don't want to make the game bigger than it is, but you also know, hey, this is the last time these four guys last time any of us are going to play in Schoenecker Arena. So to pile on the end of Schoenecker Arena with senior day, there's a lot of emotion, and I thought our guys, again, in the midst of some poor shooting, just battled and competed like champions. So proud of them. 22 wins at this point, 12 wins in the conference, and every year you can't necessarily get better, but when you look at our computer rankings and our wins in the conference and the wins overall, to do that 4 straight years, I think really reflects not just this program, but the athletic department, the job that Phil Eston has done kind of overseeing all of this with 21 teams, Corey Chapman, our sport administrator, who supports us behind the scenes in so many different ways. And really, I could go through dozens of people, all the marketing people. When you look at the crowds that have been here the last month, it's been as good as I've ever seen it. And so obviously our focus is on the here and now, but when you look at the future and moving across the street to the new Anderson Arena next year, I think it's a very bright future, and the part that these guys played in it is just, it's really, really impressive to see.
Tonight, kind of was a good example of the evolution of this program. Kind of even earlier this year and years past, you guys needed to shoot well a lot of times for you guys to be able to get big wins. And tonight, it was a gritty, physical game. And seeing how, really in the past month, how you guys have been able to really excel in those physical, gritty games. Tonight, capping off the season, 18 home wins in a row, and just everything. Just talk about their growth and how they've been able to evolve as a unit, not just be known as a three-point shooting team.
Yeah, I think, and we've talked about it throughout the course of the year, understandably that first year, and someday it'll make for a great book or documentary or something, because this first year, those 9 guys who helped us in the first year, Division I, Riley, Anders, Bert, Ryan, Will, Parker, Brooks, Bert, Ryan, Kevin, and Zach. I just repeated to them. But those 9 guys were fearless, and they completely understood if we're going to win games, we're going to have to take 43s, and we can't turn the ball over, and we've got to defend conservatively. And so really, if you look each year, in Division III, we were at a point where it was sort of, I don't want to say maintained, but there was an element of like, hey, let's be in the top 10 each year in the country, and let's give ourselves a chance to, do some things nationally. And then year one, those guys were, I think, just as tough as could be, but we had to hit 15, 16, 17 threes if we were going to have a chance. And I think year over year, when you look at, we've gotten a little bigger, a little more athletic. I think we've gotten better defensively and rebounding. And that's not a light switch. You can't just say, hey, let's play better defense. Like some of it is, the guys we've been able to recruit. Some of it is guys in our program and the skill development and the strength and conditioning and the way they've grown. And so here we are, almost 4 years in, and I think tonight certainly is one of those nights where, we battled on the glass. We had 10 offensive rebounds. They had 9. They got us overall because we shot pretty poorly, but turnovers were 17-8. And so we always talk about, you don't want to lose the game. Don't beat yourself. And then how many different ways can we win? And I think to your question, Tim, we have a lot more ways we can win. Winning's really hard, but there are a lot more ways we can win, and I don't think we could have won a game like this 3 or even probably 2 years ago.
John, you played, I think, in every iteration or every gym that you've had on this campus, either played or coached in. Do you have a favorite memory of each one?
Well, so the old O'Shaughnessy, I played a lot of pickup ball in. I did that closed in 1981. So after the fact, that was the old hot box, and we'd run camps up there, and kids' parents would be upset that there was no air conditioning. So I have a lot of traumatic memories of that because in the summer it was 100, but it was like a sauna. But that gym, my earliest memories of St. Thomas, honestly, are I was 6 years old and my dad would bring me to games. And I remember walking up these winding staircases. When you're a kid, it felt like it was 20 flights of stairs. And I remember actually coming here as an 18-year-old and going to do plyometrics up in there with one of our, Brent Longval, one of my longtime teammates. And I had this aha moment, like, this isn't 10 flights of stairs. Like, when you're a kid, it's like biggest, coolest thing in the world. And it was about 2 flights of stairs. The old Schoenecker Arena that was where, when I was a student athlete here, played. And so the first one, all I remember is going to a game with my dad. I don't remember anything else other than it was, a bunch of Tommie and Johnny fans yelling at each other. I'll tell you, the old gym, the year we went to the Final Four in 1994, that was a special night where people after the game, you just remember, moments like that. St. John's, we beat them 4 times in 1993, and the national tournament was the last one of those, so that was another special night. But then I remember the last night of that arena was 2009. We played Stevens Point. They were 4 in the country. We were 1 in the country. It was second round game. It should have been a Final Four game, but in Division III, you weren't going to have that kind of seeding. And so we beat them in an absolute slugfest. I'm going to forget the score, but it was in the 50s. And it was actually a little bit like this game. I remember their coach afterwards, Bob Semling, came up to us and they won 4 national titles in about 10 years, and he said, "You guys are really good. I didn't think you could beat us in that kind of game." And it was a compliment. It was, we were a high-octane offense, and we pressed and we ran. And so in many ways, that mirrors a little bit here tonight. But this place has been special for the last 15 years. I remember when it was being built, and, it was a time when this university, I think Lee and Penny Anderson and many others looked at it like this can help take not just athletics, but the university to a different level. And, you talk about being spot on. I look at where we were in 2009, 10, 11, and before that, and where we are now. It is an unbelievable story, and it certainly makes me, really proud, grateful to be a small part of it, but also so excited about what's to come for not just our program, but the entire university. So I don't know if I'm answering your question exactly, but it is, your life kind of flashes in front of you, because it is, my son Adam today joked, he's on our team, and he's like, "Dad, do you think I've made the most baskets in history in this gym?" Because he was 4 years old when it was built. And I was like, "Adam, you may have taken the most shots in this gym. I'm not sure if you've made the most or not." But that's the other stuff, that him and Jack and RQ have come to camps here. The number of days they've spent growing up in their lives when they're in grade school, they'd come and sit in the corner in our practices. Now it's Cam Rundle's kids, Camille and little Cam, and Mike Maker's kid, Jack Maker. And so there is a family atmosphere about this place that one of my favorite memories tonight is afterwards doing the radio with Corbu, but just watching all our players on the court, talking to their families and talking to so many of our alums who are out there. I don't think there are many programs in the country that have the kind of continuity and loyalty, and it's part of, I think, what's made us good the first 4 years at D1 is we've doubled down on our culture, and this is a special university that kids want to play at.
A game like this, where it's close throughout, points are a premium, each shot just feels like it's extra weighted. You and Coach Menzies getting into a bit of a chess match down the stretch. Having this field, do you like having these kind of games right before the tournament to get you in that mindset of, all right, we're locked in like that, you came out to win, and now we're going to Sioux Falls?
I don't know if you like them. In the moment, I'd much rather 3-point shots go in and we're up comfortably. But I will tell you this, I think our guys, you look at Kansas City, and I know they have not won a lot of games, but if you look at their losses, everyone with 2 exceptions has been within 7 points. And so, I think they're as good. There's a reason they were picked first, and we fully expected this game was going to be just unbelievably competitive, which it was. They have really good players. Their center had 10 points, 15 rebounds. Babakar, their guard, who I just think is incredible, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists as a point guard. Jamar Brown, who all around 12.7 rebounds. Like they've got really, really, really good players. And so, again, I don't know if I like that. But it's what prepares you well for the tournament. I think our guys, and I think the Summit League, if you look at the scores, and there's 5 teams above 500, 4 teams below 500, and you look at the scores over the course of the last month, if ever there's been a league where you'd say anybody can beat anybody, it's the case. So I don't know that all the coaches love that, because we all like some comfortable wins, but the competitive parity in this league, I think, is just really, really impressive. It's one of the best mid-major conference tournaments in terms of attendance, and I think there's a lot of really, really good basketball teams. For us to be 12-4 this year in the Summit League, when you look at how many close games we've had, this game came down to last minute. Our first game with them did, at Denver did, at North Dakota State did, South Dakota State here did, at South Dakota, at Oral Roberts. I think 7 or 8 of our 16 conference games came into the last minute, and so. Yeah, I hope we're battle tested, but I think more than anything, it's just guys knowing in the last couple minutes, like, just be who we are and, let the chips fall where they may, but they trust each other a lot, and they're a lot of fun to coach.
Yeah, John, Kendall has just made tremendous strides in the last 2 years in pretty much every facet of his game, and he was obviously key to you guys holding on in the second half. Where do you think he's made, just in this year alone, where do you think he's made the biggest improvement?
Well, Kendall, when he came in here, a lot was thrown at him as a freshman because we didn't have juniors and seniors. Right now, there's some guys who, are playing behind veterans like Drake and Doof and Rich and Kendall. And I think year over year, I say this all the time about Kendall, I think his greatest strength, it's not his scoring, even though he scores a lot. Some of it's his passing, but I think it's just he's so easy to play with. If you watch us on offense, and this is true of a lot of our guys, Kendall doesn't care if he scores. So tonight he has 22 points, but you see other games where he has 4 points, and you don't have to go any further than, Miles, who last game had 25 or 27, and then tonight he shoots 3 of 15. Drake has had 20-plus point games, and then he has games he doesn't even shoot. And that, to me, the beauty of all of them, and Kendall, I think, is certainly in this group, is they're capable of scoring 20-plus points, but they truly don't care. So when you look at our offensive numbers, and people talk a lot about top 10 in the country and all these stats, 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage, turnovers, et cetera, and part of that is our guys are really good, but a lot more of it is they just embrace, we're going to try to take great shots, and they trust each other. And so it's not, Coach Maker does a phenomenal job with the offense, but it's guys like Kendall and Drake are such veterans, and they've played a ton of minutes here. But when you have those guys role modeling, making the extra pass, when you have those guys role modeling huge smiles after a game, whether they score 25 or 5 points, that's contagious within a culture. And so I think Kendall has, he's matured in that way, and he just continues to grow. I think he's a lot of fun to be around every day. And I don't know if there's one, so I'm not avoiding your question. I don't know if there's one area. I just think he continues to get better and better. He leads us in rebounding, and I think he's becoming more and more of a complete player every day.
Last year's group of seniors was obviously a special group for many reasons, the D3 to D1 story. This group, Ben and Doof as your 2 of your first recruits, Drake coming in, your history of recruiting, Rich before he finally got here. What can you say about this group as they go out on a win here at home, and what it's been like coaching them?
Yeah, it is special because you look, each one of those guys has had a very unique path here. Benny was the first guy to ever commit to the program, which again, I as high school coach, Benny had a bunch of people here today, including Dan Wandry, who was huge that first year when nobody knew St. Thomas really going to Division I. That's what people were saying, but we still had a whole year of Division III ahead of us. We're in the middle of COVID, and Benny was the only kid that committed to us that year. Ryan Dufault chose to walk on. So those two, and they've been roommates for 4 years, those two sort of took a leap of faith. And then the next year, Carter, Kendall, Andrew, and Ajani did. Drake transferred mid-year in that first year and had to sit out a while. And so you look at his journey, and then Rich, who we recruited in high school back when we were Division III, plays 4 years at Rockhurst, goes to Green Bay, and now here. They've all had these fascinating journeys. And I think the coolest part is for them to go out together like this, and just each of them impacted the whole season. Rich tonight I thought was an enormous spark the first half. So, yeah, I could talk for hours about each of them because they are four guys that when you talk about selflessness and embracing their role and just doing whatever the team needs, all four of them do that every single day. And that doesn't mean it's always easy, and it doesn't mean they wouldn't like to play more minutes or take more shots, but they don't. They just do what the team needs. And that, to me, is what makes this group so special. We're so fortunate to have the four of them, and tonight's a night that they certainly deserved, and it's one that we'll always remember. So you should really talk to Rich and Drake, and they'll give you better answers.
Senior night can be very emotional. Final game, a lot on the line. They had a lot to play for, and they clearly brought it. Just talk about the start of the game and trying to temper some of the emotions that are probably going through you guys as seniors, your final game here, and still being able to find a way to come out with a win here tonight.
Yeah, I think we honestly came out a little flat, lacked a little bit of energy. I just think partly because of all the emotions of senior night and, what all of us have gone through to get to this moment in time. But obviously we picked it up pretty quickly, and I thought we just really got it done on the defensive end tonight.
Yeah, I think it took us a while to adjust to their physicality a little bit and the speed of the game. It's a really good team, and I think after the first 3 or 4 minutes we did a good job on D. Shots weren't falling, so we had to get it inside, and I just think everyone, coaches, players, did a good job leading tonight.
Yeah, for either one of you, you guys have won a lot of games a lot of different ways this year, and then tonight was another example. Didn't shoot a lot great, but managed to make plays down the end and defend. What do you think that says about this group, that you're able to win games so many different ways?
I think we're just really mentally tough. It can be anyone's night for us scoring the ball, but defensively, I think we're able to, as a team, sense in those moments, hey, our shot's not really falling. We got to get multiple stops, and we got to win it on the defensive end. And I think that's just part of our culture that the coaches have created for us here. And it's just what we do every single day. We get down in these moments, and we're tough, and we fight through it. And even if we're not hitting shots, I don't think we care. And we've been in a lot of these games before where it's tight, and we know that we got to get it done at the defensive end, and so that's what happened tonight.
Rich, for you tonight, you had that first half. You were the spark when things were pretty quiet offensively. What were you seeing out there where you're having some good moments there and really being able to keep the team above water as everybody was trying to, get back onto the boat and, straighten everything out there?
Yeah, I think it just comes from I have the ultimate confidence in my teammates have the ultimate confidence in me. So I think it got going on a 3. Drake had a perfect pass. I was wide open, knocked it down. Felt good to hit one. It's been a while. But, no, I've been around the game for a long time. I can tell when we're a little flat, something needs to happen. Someone's got to step up a little bit. So it was nice to be able to step up and fill that void tonight because everyone on our team's done that this year, whether it's been on the road or at home. And I just think that's what makes this team special is we have a lot of guys who can, like Drake says, like Coach says, it can be anyone's night, any night. So I think it's a special team. We showed it tonight.
Each of you have a favorite memory of this building?
It's a good question. Honestly, probably for me this year, just how fun the games were when we played NDSU and Omaha. I think probably my best memory, though, is just going, I think, 14-0 this year at home.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's definitely one of, a lifelong memory I'll never forget.
Yeah, this will be my first year. I think I didn't know what to expect. I mean, it's a smaller gym, but I've heard the atmosphere is crazy. But I'd say South Dakota State at home, I think it was our first home game of conference, and it's just the place was rocking, great atmosphere. I think the crowd really helped us win that game, so I'd say that game.
Yeah.
Both of you, you had both known Johnny for quite a while, started your careers elsewhere, transferred in, and you finished like this. Just talk about that journey and how that payoff has been to finish your careers here, playing for him, and just this whole experience at playing for St. Thomas.
Yeah, it's been a long ride. My college career was not what I expected early on. Went through a lot of battles and, had to persevere a lot of times. So, shout out to JT and the coaching staff. I love those guys. I'd do anything for them. They could have went with a lot of other guys, but they, stuck with me and kept believing in me. So it's been an awesome journey. Man, I love everything about St. Thomas, and I think we're not done yet. So just got to keep it going.
Yeah, for me, I mean, with it being senior and everything, I was reflecting back on my career a little bit, and it was my 143rd game tonight, which is just crazy to think about. Like, if you'd have told me 5-6 years ago when I was in high school we'd play 143, hopefully 146 college games, I'd say no chance, no way. But having that relationship with JT and the coaching staff for years, going back to high school, and just I've always watched St. Thomas from afar because it is a special place, and what they did going from D3 to D1 has just never been done before. So I think I've watched that and watched the journey, and just special to be a part of, and I'm super fortunate that Coach gave me the opportunity to be here, and I've loved every second of it. It's a great place to be.
Back to all the different ways you guys have won games this year, how do you think that's prepared you for what you're going to face this week in Sioux Falls?
I think it's the ultimate confidence for us. We know that we can win in a multitude of ways, whether it's hitting a bunch of shots or grounding in on defense and making sure we have to get stops, and then it's also a lot of, it's also confidence that we know it can be anyone's night. And so I think there's so many different ways that we can beat teams that it makes us scary to play. So we just got to be ready for anything that happens in Sioux Falls. But I like this group a lot, and we're ready to go.
One last one for me. You guys being seniors haven't really capitalized or put a cap on this year. What's it like knowing that what you guys have been a part of and helped build, this program is now one of the standard programs in this league in just a short amount of time? There's a lot of league teams that have been in this league for quite a long time that have not reached your level in the short time you've been. What's that mean to you guys?
Oh, it's awesome. It means a lot. I mean, like I said, when I started college, St. Thomas still had 2 more seasons of D3. So to be a part of this team that's now a staple and a big factor in the Summer League is awesome. It's a super cool experience. I know that looking back 5-10 years from now, I'm going to look back on today and just this whole season and be like, I'm so grateful I was a part of it, and just super excited and thankful.
Yeah, I was on the team, the first Division I team for like the last 12 games of that year. So it's been cool, really cool to see like how we've just risen every single year and gotten better. But man, I think it's just a credit to the coaches and the culture they've created here at St. Thomas. Our guys play super hard. We're really skilled. We can shoot. So it's just a credit to those guys. I think you've seen our progress each year, and obviously we're getting the new arena. The guys, they definitely deserve it. It's a credit to them. So we just got to keep it going here.
Thanks, guys.
Sweet. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right.